Welcome back, everybody. My name's Daniela, and on this channel we like to make crafts and cocktails. So cheers, and let's get right into it. Here is our inspo pick from Etsy. Number one is this gorgeous landscape of Christmas trees or pine trees. Cheers, of course. I am using a canvas board that I already had. I buy these in these like 5 packs from either Walmart or Michael's, especially at Michael's. Oh my gosh, get those on clearance or with a coupon or on a Black Friday sale. Now I am just measuring it with some beautiful scrapbook paper. I picked this gorgeous like magenta-y purple color, and I'm just cutting my paper to size. Once I do that, I'm just going to make sure it fits, and then I'm just going to use my hot glue gun to glue it on. Guys, I tried so hard with just plain hot glue to get these little stones on, and it wouldn't work. So, I am using a combination of my Rapid Fuse hot glue and that. So I use my Rapid Fuse hot glue because it's cheaper than Gorilla Glue. Here's what I'll tell you though. It has a strong smell when you combine the two. It does not have that strong of a smell by itself. But again, the combination of the two really worked for me. If it doesn't work for you, try to use E6000 glue. But I couldn't find mine if I had brought it on the move. Honestly, I'm not sure. Otherwise, just make this beautiful tree out of that. Again, I'm just using a combination of my super glue, my Rapid Fuse glue, and my hot glue to put all these little stones. These white stones are a ginormous bag from Dollar Tree. You can get them there. Then I'm going to use this gorgeous like sea glass and these little like sea glass pebbles. I also got at Dollar Tree, both of them. And I'm going to start placing them in different areas. I really wanted to create somewhat of a landscape, so I'm creating different heights and widths of different trees. Here's a close-up of me gluing that beautiful sea glass, or whatever you want to call it, shards, doesn't matter. Honestly, if you have broken pieces of glass, that would work wonderfully, but I am just making them into tree shapes, specifically pine tree or Christmas tree, and then any little open spaces I just like loaded, and I mean loaded, with hot glue and sprinkled these little teeny tiny green sea glass pieces from Dollar Tree. It really helped fill it in. So then again, like I wanted to create some dimensions. So I wanted some in front, some behind. So this one's behind the white tree from those white rocks. And I am surrounding it by bigger crystal or sea glass pieces and then filling it in with these little teeny tiny pieces. I will say, even though you don't see it on this, I do shake it off a few times, and then you do have to refill it wherever it's needed. I was going to leave it like that, but it just didn't feel like enough. So I am taking a little piece of extra foam board from my beautiful pink faux wood that I created earlier in a different DIY. I will leave that link below, but I'm gluing that down as the trunk. Then I added this little shard that looked like a mini Christmas tree by itself. I thought it would look great in the background, and it still didn't feel like enough for me. So I added some more of those white stones. I did clean them off with a baby wipe, which seemed to work better so that just the dust didn't glue to the hot glue. It just felt like it seemed better, and if it felt loose, I did add a little squirt of the Rapid Fuse glue. So I'm putting that there because I wanted to create a landscape that had some dimension to it. I did consider putting a stem or a trunk, but it just didn't work out that way. Now I'm taking a brush that is, I would say, small to medium, but it comes to a point, which is important. And I am taking white paint and creating these little stars. You start from one center point, drag up, drag down, and drag to the sides. The important part is that they are thicker in the middle and come to little points on the sides. Some of these, honestly, I did have to fix and make them thinner. Then I used the bottom of my brush to create little polka dots. I also worked at a paint and sip place, and this was a huge asset to that process. Look how gorgeous and colorful. I'm so excited about this one. Today's video is special because it is part of Elena Jenkins' DIYs monthly inspired DIY challenge with co-host Dandy Soap. So I will leave both their informations and the link to the playlist down below so you can check out what everyone else was inspired by this month. Speaking of which, I thought I would make my cocktail inspired by the host today, so it's inspired by Elena Jenkins DIY. And so I was thinking about all of the beautiful things she makes and how they're rustic and farmhouse and kind of like classic and traditional with this rustic antique feel, and I wanted to make something that just makes you feel good thinking about all of those themes. So today we made a delicious peach bourbon lemonade. Let's check out how we made it. Here are our ingredients. It is so simple. Lemons, water, agave, Jim Beam with peach. I am squeezing a giant lemon into this. Again, it depends on the size of lemon you have. Usually this takes me a full lemon, but this one was big, so I just used half of it. Then I take some of my Jim Beam peach. It's already got that peach flavor in it, and I put 1.5 shots. You can add as much or as little as you want. Thank you, Elvis, for helping us out. Honestly, I ended up using 2 shots for my second drink. But then we add some agave, some water, some ice, and it ends up perfect. Make sure to mix. You guys, this is so absolutely delicious. I don't even drink bourbon like that. So good. So good, okay? You have to try it. All right, let's get back to see what's next. Here's our second inspiration pick, are these adorable ornaments by an Instagram artist named Jenny Heiser, and I put a twist on it by making them into coasters. So I got these 2 ceramic tiles from the local Habitat for Humanity restore. They were only 10 cents each, so it's super budget friendly. And I am just going to start with some acrylic paint, and I'm using a round brush to make the head of my snowman. Here you can see I'm definitely looking at her picture for inspiration on how I want to make these. Of course I had to pick these because they're gorgeously colorful, and even though all my other DIYs end up being kind of tree related, I had to include this one because this is actually the first picture that inspired me to want to do a colorful Christmas theme, and I knew it would be perfect for this inspired DIY challenge. So I used a beautiful metallic rose gold or just pink color for the first hat and a black scarf, and for the second one I'm making a black hat and a green scarf. I do end up doing 2 coats of both of these except for the snowball because it really had a nice texture to it and I wanted to leave it. Now I'm using a small brush with some orange paint and creating my big carrot nose. In the picture she has big old carrot noses that are on there that look like maybe they're wood or something, but I'm just painting mine on since these will be coasters. So I do that to both of my snowmen. Then I mixed some orange with a teeny tiny bit of black to make a brownish color, and I'm just adding some textured lines to my carrot noses so it looks a little bit more realistic. Then I'm using the bottom of my brush again to make little dots. I do apologize that the first one is out of frame, but you'll see it on the second snowman. I'm adding eyeballs and, of course, a little charcoal mouth. I use a teeny tiny little brush with some black paint to create some eyelashes for the one with the pink hat. I decided I wanted to add eyelashes. One's a little bit more feminine, the other one's going to be a little more masculine. Then I'm making all sorts of wavy, almost like C-shaped lines to create some rose patterns. I really love the rose pattern in the original one from the post, so I wanted to create some sort of similar design. So that's what I'm doing here. Then I'm going to take some of that pink metallic color and some white, which ends up not being metallic, just like a nice rosy pink, using the bottom of my brush again to make the rosy cheeks on both snowmen. So I have rosy cheeks both on the female and the male snowman, or whatever you want to call them. Then I wanted to spice up our other snowman because he could not be okay with just being plain. So I used the bottom of my brush for the millionth time and add little polka dots. But that wasn't enough, so then I went back with my teeny tiny brush and some white paint to make some swirls on his hat for some extra detail, which I ended up liking a lot more. And I only did it on some. I left some as just plain polka dots. Then to add some leaves to my other snowman, I just used a brush with some green paint and made some leaves, as well as outlined the scarf. Then I outlined the other snowman scarf with just some black paint. And I think these are looking really cute so far. I'm really excited with how they're turning out. But I decided it wasn't enough color for me. This is a colorful project and it just wasn't giving me the colorful vibes. So here I am with some blue paint outlining my snowman. I do this for both of the snowmen, but I only show you for one of them just to save the time and energy of doing that. And just like we did in our little winterscape, I'm making little tiny stars in the background and then some little dots to add some extra stars for detail. Again, I do end up doing this for both of our snowmen just to add some more fun, I don't know, holiday spice, you know, it just needed more color. I think it's looking so adorable. So the last step is I cut out some felt to fit my tiles and I'm just hot gluing it to the back so that way these don't scratch up your table and they work better as coasters. And the last step is to coat it with some acrylic sealant, which I did, I believe, 3 coats of. And here's how they turned out. I love them! Before we move on, I want to invite you all and remind you all about the Multicultural Holiday DIY Challenge I'm hosting. I'll leave the link below, and here's the information as well. Our next one was inspired by these cute little pom-pom Christmas trees, and here is my rendition. So let's see how we do it. This one's actually really quite easy. I'm taking one of these cute little triangle, I don't know, frames from Dollar Tree. They had a bunch of them over the summer, and I'm just taking, I bought 3 different packs of pom-poms and I'm just picking up the colors that I like. I wanted it specifically to be like more pastel fun colors, so that's what I'm picking out here. Once you've got those all picked out, you can start gluing. So I did this kind of a wonky way, but I knew that I wanted to have some of these larger pom-poms, so I glued those down first and kind of worked around it. I just figured if I went row by row, I would get stuck in a pattern and then would forget to add those. So I'm working around those, but you could of course do this in any method you see fit. After that, I do just go row by row with all of my pom-poms using hot glue to stick them down, which worked perfectly fine. And the nice thing about these little pom-poms is even if there's like a little corner space, they're so squishy. You just shove them in there and it sticks perfectly fine. I'm not doing them in any order or with any rhyme or reason. I'm just sticking them where I think they look cute and trying not to put 2 of the same color next to each other, but it happens, so no big deal. So you're going to do this all the way to the top. Here I am deciding if I want to put a bigger pom-pom at the top, but I didn't like that look. So I just put a sparkly white one instead. And I think it looks really cute. Here it is, quick and simple, colorful pom-pom Christmas tree. Our last one was inspired by a YouTuber named Hermione Chantal, and she made this gorgeous pressed flower framed letter, and I'm doing mine into a tree shape. So the first thing I do is I find a gold frame from Dollar Tree and I remove the backing and all of those little like metal pieces. By the way, I will of course link the video to hers below. I absolutely love how hers turned out, to be honest. So I just used some of my rapid fuse glue or hot glue to glue down my glass to my frame, and then I reinforce it on the back with some hot glue just to be sure. Now I'm showing you what we're going to use. I found these on clearance. It's like washi tape with flower petals for 50 cents at Walmart, which is amazing, so I picked up a couple of them. I will link some below in Amazon that will work just as fine. They look just as similar. Of course, they're going to be a little more expensive because they're not on clearance, but they also come in multi-packs, which is nice. And I just start laying these down. At some point, I realized you don't have to roll it all off in one strip. You can separate them. I had no idea that you could literally separate these one petal by one petal, so I do kind of stop to fix that. That's what I'm doing here is I'm separating it some. I'm not separating each petal, but in some chunks so I don't use up all my tape in one sitting. Then I just continue with this process and create my triangle shape to make my tree shape. And I do try my best to balance it out so that it looks even on all sides and it's not like lopsided or heavier or weighted on one side, if that makes sense. And yeah, I just go through this process of putting all my flower petals on there, which I think it looks really cute, and I really love the colors that it came out with. You could totally do this with other colors. Again, I wanted to do a colorful Christmas, and you all know how much I love pink, so of course I had to make my tree pink. Once you get all of that finished, I ended up using one of those wooden snowflake stickers from Dollar Tree and gluing it on the top. I think it added a really nice touch to it. To get the trunk, I used a large popsicle stick from Walmart and just cut it off the bottom and hot glued it to the bottom of my tree, and it matched the wooden snowflake perfectly, so I absolutely love how it turned out. To finish it off, I'm just gluing some of my twine or jute to the back of the sign. I'm putting hot glue underneath and on top and snipping off any excess of that rope, jute, twine, whatever you want to call it, okay? Look how cute! I think it's so cute. I know it's like not Christmas colors, but I love it. And here's all of our gorgeous, colorful Christmas projects for this inspired DIY challenge hosted by Elena Jenkins DIY and Dandy Soap DIY. So again, check out their channels and the rest of the playlist that I will have linked in my description. And I hope you guys join my challenge coming up. And that's it. Bye!